everybody. We have some new card reveals today from Bandle City, Targon, and Piltover Anzon. This is Silent Eric, and let's go ahead and get a look at these. 7 mana 6/6 impact in Bandle City to bird. When I'm summoned, grant other allies that have subtypes +1/+1 in impact. Okay, so this one doesn't care about other subtypes at least. But it will buff out your whole board as long as you're running an impact deck. I mean, that's pretty easy to do in Bandle City when almost everything is a Yordle or a Fae. So yeah, that's a nice buff finisher to put into Bandle City Go Wide. The Returno Wrench, 2 mana 0/0 with impact. When I'm discarded, equip me to a random unequipped ally. That's pretty cool. So this fits into the Rumble discard type thing. You're able to put impact on the random. Yeah, it actually just fits really well into Bandle City discard. That's great. You probably don't want too many of them in your deck, I don't think. Actually, paying 2 mana to put it out is going to be awful. But I like that a lot. That's a nice little trick, a reoccurring discard. The Yordle, Portal Scholar, so something with 4 mana 3/4. When I'm summoned, plant a mysterious portal in the top 4 cards of your deck. When you summon a created ally, grant it impact. Okay. So this is a 4 mana thing that works with Nora, and it buffs all your created allies, which are going to be things that come out of portals, but it could also be just all kinds of hungry owl cats or poros. That's pretty strong. That makes everything you create into at least 1 damage, a little bit of threat. I like that a lot, actually. I know a lot of people don't really like Nora, but I like the Mysterious Portal mechanic. And this gives you even more aggro with it. And 4 for a 3/4 stat line is not that bad, especially on a Yordle. I would have thought that was a Fae, but I guess that's a Yordle. Star-Crossed Lovers. 3 mana, play, recall an ally, and grant it my stats. Okay. So, recalling an ally and granting it your stats. That is some late game stuff. That is definitely gonna work in Targon elusives more than anything else. You could put it with Targon Overwhelms, but it's just going to be better on elusives. And there is some hand buff that you can find in Targon, but this seems to fit most with a Targon Ionia hand buff, or Targon Ionia recall, maybe, if you actually run Ari with Targon. Interesting. It certainly seems star-crossed. Like, this has a lot less combo potential outside of Ionia. Okay. It feels niche. I don't think you're going to find it in a lot of decks, but I think it'll be fun to experiment around with. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next 4 cards. We have Age of Dragons, a 12 mana. Our first 12 mana card outside of Freljord. Age of Dragons. For the top 9 cards in your deck, draw each dragon, reduce their cost to 0, then shuffle the rest into your deck. So this is slow. It's faster than War Mother's Call, slower than Feel the Rush, because this is going to just draw dragons and let you play them. It can draw you an Aurelion Soul and make it 0 cost. Yeah, top 9 cards. It's pretty likely that you'll get a full board of dragons with this. Uh, and of course, you can run it with Targon's Peak if you want to cheat it out early. But yeah, that looks like that's a fun little top end addition for dragon decks that let you, if you get to that stage of the game, just, hey, I'm a big dragon deck. I should really be winning right now. It makes it less of a grind to play like one big dragon every turn. I like it a lot. Yeah, that kind of just pushes up the speed of dragon decks. Sump Monument. If your Nexus would take non poison puff cap damage, your opponent plants 4 poison puff caps in your deck for each damage instead. Wow. That's that's kind of crazy. So 3 mana and you can't, there's not much of a way around that, is there? Other than if you run something that, if you keep running stuff that fill up your deck with created cards to thin your deck, or if you run that with something that completely replaces your deck, like level 3 Azir somehow, or the, I think it's only an Eternal now, but there's a Targon card that replaces your deck with Behold the Infinite. But yeah, that's basically anti-aggro because it turns Rush Down into like a delayed strategy as to when you take the damage. Ooh, that's gonna be, it's gonna be kind of nerve wracking, but that, like, you're not taking the damage immediately. Uh, it does mean that you want to build your own deck to not draw a lot. This is a landmark that you don't want more than one of out at a time. Yeah, it's interesting. And it's planting poison puff caps in your own deck, which I'm pretty sure does not count for Teemo or Caitlyn. Well, Epic Scrap Traption. To play, spend all your mana, so it's another one of those. Summon a runaway Scrap Trap and grow its stats to that amount. Okay, so this is a brash tech, because we have not had a brash uh, tech for Heimerdinger yet. Summon it, grow its stats to that amount. Okay, so it's very reminiscent. It's probably weaker than the Demacia one that has that threshold benefit, but this one at least summons a brash, and it's always going to give you a unit. It can be a pretty big unit. I feel like it's not as good as the production surge, but maybe you run one copy of it. But PNZ doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to get really big units, and this will do that. So, interesting enough, I suppose. So, Epic Scrap Traption. I could see you running it in a Jace deck. I could see it in Heimer, obviously, because it's tech. If you're running one of those kind of like uh, tech synergy decks, where you're buffing tech cards and running Heimerdinger, and sharing keywords from among tech cards, it definitely would find a place there. Other than that, I don't think you're going to see that much use out of this. It's always spending all your mana. Grow its stats to that amount. So this is a 0 mana 1/1 because it's not going to grow the 1/1 to 0. So that's probably, oh, but it's minimum 1 cost, I think. I think it's never going to cost 0. If you can play that for 0 cost, that gives it some kind of benefit as a like go wide thing. But other than that, some monument. is interesting. We'll have to see how that kind of pays off. It means that you're not running a lot of card draw in P and Z, but if you're running some kind of mid-range deck, this gives you a benefit against aggro. But you'd be running P and Z with mid-range, which is weird. Maybe running like very little of it, but in Demacia, like Demacia P and Z. Age of Dragons, I think that's my favorite one of these so far. I really like what they're doing there, how that compares to the other ones. So obviously that's just going to go into a dragon deck. It will be kind of useless if you don't have dragons in your deck and enough of them to ensure that you are going to spend 12 mana and draw. You could run this in something that has less dragons if you're just running like Aurelion Soul as a top end, and then you're spending 12 mana to hopefully get a free Aurelion Soul, but that's not really guaranteed. You're better off hedging your bets and running a lot of dragons. Star-Crossed Lovers, I think it's going to run with Ionia. I don't think you're going to find much use of it anywhere else. Portal Scholar, that's going with Nora, but it can also go with. I think it can also go with your if you're running any kind of thing that creates a bunch of allies, like not just created cards like Victor, but actually creating allies, which is mostly a Bandle City thing, I think. Actually, it's a summon, so if you play anything that goes wide, I guess maybe the funniest thing with that would be with Shark Chariot, because every time you revive and summon a Shark Chariot, it's going to have impact. That's kind of funny. Uh, Returno Wrench is going to go in Bandle City discard. If you're running Rumble with Scion or even Rumble with Jinx, I think you're going to find a use for Returno Wrench in that kind of deck. You want to have enough discard to make it easy to put out. And then you kind of want it to land on things that will die so that you get it back and have your discard fodder again. Ferocious Fluffs is probably going to go with, I think, whatever Nico's doing, which is the go wide with different subtypes. This seems like a finisher for a subtype thing, but it's one of those Bandle City finishers where it's not really finishing the game, it's just has impact. It's giving a lot of impact. But, I mean, that worked for Poppy for a little while. Okay. Those are the cards for today. Tomorrow, it's another variety set, but with nothing from Freljord. So I think we can definitely say that whatever the unique uh, LOR exclusive champion is, it's probably going to be a Freljord one. And it looks like, based on the fact that it's kind of evenly distributed, that Nico's probably going to be a Runeterra champ. Possibly one that allows you to build your deck with different subtypes. But that's a lot of cards. So I hope that it isn't just can take anything, any unit with a subtype. That would be a bit too much, I think. But we'll see. So Nico, maybe tomorrow. Maybe there'll be a lead up and then Nico and then. Oh, running out of time though. Well, in any case, we'll find out soon enough. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. Subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.